We have learned about theoretical probability and experimental probability in the last lesson, and you have done a quick recap before. I hope you have understood that. So theoretical probability is what we expect to happen, and experimental probability is what actually happens after we have done certain number of experiments. We use experimental probability to estimate outcomes. For example, if you know the probability of something, and then you're thinking, if I perform an experiment this many times, what will happen? So this is called estimating. This is not the actual result. You are still estimating what will happen, what will be the outcomes. In your questions, the question can ask you estimate. That means you have to find out the experimental probability. Let's look at a question. Mia makes this 8-sided spinner for an experiment. Part A, what is the theoretical probability that the spinner will land on blue? Mia is going to spin this spinner 400 times. B part is estimate how many times the spinner will land on blue. So first step, underline the keywords. Again, 8-sided spinner. The spinner is 8-sided, so total number of outcomes will be 8. What is the theoretical probability that the spinner will land on blue? Out of 8, how many are blue? 1, 2, and 3. So theoretical probability part A will be 3 out of 8. That's it. Mia is going to spin this spinner 400 times. So how many times the experiment is going to happen? It is 400 times. Again, the question is saying estimate how many times the spinner will land on blue. All you have to do is just find out the experimental probability like you did before. Multiply the probability times it by the number of experiments. Cross cancelling, can do that. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40 and 0. 50 times 3 will be equal to, now I can explain like this, 50 times 3 is equal to 150. So my answer to part A is 3 over 8 and answer to part B is 150. So if I just go and look at another example, so let's just clear this off. I should have somewhere. Yeah, if I just go and tell you another example, that is, there are red, blue, and yellow counters in a bag in the ratio of 5:6:1. So now this is a slightly different question. It is given in the form of a ratio. So when it says red ratio blue ratio yellow, I know you have not done it, but I'm just going to explain it now. It says red, blue, and yellow, so it is going to be in the same order. So red is 5, blue is going to be 6, and yellow is 1. So red, blue, and yellow. What is the probability of choosing a red counter? What is the probability of choosing a red counter? So first of all, how many counters are there in total? 5 plus 6 plus 1. 5 plus 6 plus 1 is equal to 5 and 6, 11 and 12. So total number of counters is 12. Probability of choosing a red counter, out of 12, 5 are red, so it will be 5 over 12. A counter is picked at random from a bag and then replaced. This is done 180 times. So now the experiment is done 180 times. How many times would you expect this to happen? Counter is fixed, 5 over 12 multiplied by 180, and if you just cancel it, 12 and this is 25, answer will be 75. Again, it is expected to happen or estimated to happen.